I got the promotion 5 years ago. The one I'd been working toward for a decade. Corner office, 6 figures. Everything I thought I wanted. He left me 3 months later. And I didn't even see it coming. I'm 43 now, single, successful, and completely alone. His name was David. We were together for 12 years. Married for 8 of them. And I genuinely thought that he understood. That he knew my career mattered. That he supported my ambition. He did. He really did. Until he didn't. Until I gave him nothing left to support. This is what happens when you choose wrong. When you prioritize the thing that can't love you back. When you realize too late that success tastes like nothing when you're eating dinner alone. We met when I was 31. I was an associate at a consulting firm in Chicago. Working 70-hour weeks. Living on coffee and ambition. David was different from the men I usually dated. He was a high school teacher. History. He coached basketball. He left work at 3:30 and didn't think about it until the next morning. My friends thought I was settling. You need someone who matches your drive, they said. But David wasn't less driven. He was just driven toward different things. Relationships, presence, actually living his life instead of postponing it for some future version of success. The first few years were good. We had a small wedding. Bought a condo in Lincoln Park. Talked about kids eventually. He'd have dinner ready when I got home at 9 p.m. He never complained. He'd ask about my day and actually listen. I took that for granted. When I made senior consultant at 35, the travel started. 2 weeks a month in different cities. Client dinners. Weekend strategy sessions. David said it was fine. And I believed him. Because it was easier to believe him than to actually look at what was happening. I missed his birthday. Twice. Our anniversary 3 times. When his mom was in the hospital, I was in San Francisco closing a deal. I sent flowers. Like flowers could replace being there. Here's what I didn't understand then. Marriage isn't a static thing that just exists because you said vows once. It's a living thing that needs attention. Needs feeding. And I was starving mine, slowly, consistently, for years, he tried to tell me. Not directly because that wasn't David's way, but in small ways that I was too busy to notice. He stopped asking about my work. Stopped waiting up when I came home late. Started making plans with friends on weekends. I said I'd be home, but then wasn't. When I was there, I wasn't really there. I was on my laptop, on conference calls. Checking emails at dinner. In bed. He said once, "I feel like I'm married to your job, not to you." I laughed. Told him he was being dramatic. That this was just a busy season. That it would get better. It never got better. I just kept promising it would. The promotion came when I was 38. Partner track. It meant even more travel. Even longer hours. But also, finally, the recognition I'd been chasing. I called David from the airport. Told him the news. Waited for him to be excited. He said, "Congratulations." His voice was flat. Empty. "When will you be home?" "Friday," I said. "Maybe Saturday morning." "There's a client event Friday night. It's our anniversary on Friday." I'd forgotten. Again. "I'll make it up to you," I said. "I promise. We'll do something special next weekend." He was quiet for a long time. Then he said, "Okay." I didn't know that would be the last anniversary we'd have. When I got home that Saturday morning, he was sitting at the kitchen table. 2 suitcases by the door. "I can't do this anymore," he said. Just like that. No warning, no fight, no chance to fix it. I stood there in my business clothes, wheeling my carry-on, and I couldn't even process what he was saying. "Do what?" I asked. "Be alone in a marriage," he said. "I've been alone for 3 years. And I can't do it anymore." I tried to argue. Tried to tell him I'd change. That the promotion meant things would be different. That I'd have more flexibility now. He just looked at me. Really looked at me. And said, "You don't even know what day it is, do you? You don't know that I've been sleeping in the guest room for 2 months. You don't know that I stopped wearing my wedding ring in October." I looked at his hand. His ring finger was bare. And I hadn't even noticed. "I love you," he said. "I probably always will, but I can't keep loving someone who isn't here." Who doesn't want to be here? I do want to be here, I said. No, he said gently. You want to be here. That's not the same thing. He left that afternoon, moved in with his brother, filed for divorce 6 weeks later. I threw myself into work. Because that's what I knew how to do. Because work didn't leave me. Work didn't look at me with disappointment and exhaustion. I told myself he was wrong. That he didn't understand ambition. That he was intimidated by my success. That I was better off without someone who couldn't support my career. I believed that for almost a year. Then I got COVID. Nothing serious, but enough to keep me home for 10 days. Really home. No laptop, no meetings. Just me and the condo and the silence. And for the first time in maybe 5 years, I had to actually sit with myself. Had to look at my life without the distraction of work. The condo was exactly the same as when David left. I hadn't changed anything. Hadn't even unpacked some of his boxes that he'd said he'd pick up later and never did. I realized I couldn't name a single friend I'd seen in the past 6 months. Couldn't remember the last time I'd done something just for pleasure. Couldn't remember the last time I'd felt anything except tired or stressed or accomplished. I started going through old photos on my phone, from before the promotion, before the travel, before I stopped being present. There was one from our honeymoon. We'd gone to Maine, stayed in a tiny bed and breakfast, spent a week doing nothing but walking on the beach and eating lobster and talking for hours. In the photo, I'm laughing, really laughing. Not the polite professional laugh I'd perfected for networking events, but the kind of laugh that comes from being genuinely happy. I couldn't remember the last time I'd laughed like that. I started thinking about what David had said, about being alone in a marriage. And I realized he was right. I had been alone too. Alone in my ambition. Alone in my success. Alone in the life I'd built that looked perfect from the outside but felt empty from the inside. What I didn't know then, what I've learned since, is that this is incredibly common. According to research on American women in high-powered careers, over 60% report significant relationship strain due to work demands. And 1 in 3 professional women who divorce cite career prioritization as a major factor. I wasn't unique. I wasn't even unusual. I was just one more woman who bought into the lie that you can have it all by yourself, without partnership, without presence, without actually living your life while you're building your career. The thing is, nobody tells you that success is lonely. They show you the corner office and the salary and the title. They don't show you eating takeout alone at 9 p.m. on a Friday night. They don't show you realizing you have nobody to call when something good happens. They don't show you understanding finally that achievement means nothing if there's nobody who cares that you achieved it. I started therapy, not because I wanted to get David back. By then, he'd started dating someone else. A teacher at his school. Someone who was home for dinner. Someone who showed up. I started therapy because I needed to understand how I'd gotten so lost. How I'd convinced myself that being successful meant being alone. That partnership was a distraction instead of the whole point. My therapist asked me once, if you could go back, what would you change? I said, everything. I'd choose differently. She said, would you? Or would you just want different consequences from the same choices? That hit me hard. Because she was right. I didn't actually want to give up my career. I didn't want to be someone different. I just wanted the version of success that came with love too. With partnership too. With a life too. But that's not how it works. You can't have presence without presence. You can't have intimacy without showing up. You can't have partnership without actually being a partner. I'd wanted it all without doing the work of balancing it all. And David paid the price for that. I paid the price for that. I'm not going to lie and say I figured it all out now. Now. That I've found perfect balance. That I've magically transformed into someone who leaves work at 5 p.m. and has a thriving relationship. What I have figured out is this. Success without connection is just lonely achievement. And I built my entire life around lonely achievement. It's been 5 years since David left. I've dated a few people, nothing serious. Nothing that lasted more than a few months. Because here's the thing I've had to accept. I am still the same person I was. Still ambitious. Still driven. Still someone who cares deeply about my work. The difference is, now I know what that costs. Now I'm honest about it. Now, when I meet someone, I do and pretend I'm going to magically prioritize them over everything else I built my identity around. Some people can do both. Can maintain an intense career and an intimate partnership. Can travel 3 weeks a month and still make their spouse feel seen and valued and prioritized. I don't think I'm one of those people. And that's a hard thing to admit. That maybe I chose my path, and the path chose me back. That maybe some doors close when you walk through others. David's married now. I saw it on Facebook. To that teacher. They have a baby. They look happy in a way that feels both distant and familiar. Like a life I could have had if I'd been someone else. I don't regret my career. I'm good at what I do. I've built something I'm proud of. But I regret the cost of it. I regret that I didn't even try to find balance. That I didn't even acknowledge there was a choice being made. If you're listening to this and you see yourself in my story, if you're in a relationship and you're choosing work over presence, over showing up, over actually being there, I want you to know something. You're not wrong for wanting career success. You're not wrong for being ambitious. You're not wrong for caring about your work, but you can't have intimacy without presence. You can't have partnership without showing up. And you can't keep promising later and expect people to wait forever. David waited 3 years. 3 years of later. 3 years of next week. 3 years of being alone in a marriage. And when he finally left, I acted like he was the one giving up. Like he was the one who couldn't handle my success. But he wasn't giving up on my success. He was giving up on waiting for me to show up to my own life. I understand that now. 5 years too late. But I understand it. If you still have time, if you're still in it, if your person is still waiting, don't waste it the way I did. Don't assume they'll always be there. Don't assume later is guaranteed. Because sometimes later never comes. Sometimes you look up and realize you achieved everything you wanted professionally and lost everything you needed personally. And you can't promote your way out of that loneliness. You can't work your way out of that regret. Trust me. I've tried. Before I go, I need to be transparent with you. This story, it was created with the narrator, the specific details, the timeline, they're fictional. But here's what's real, the emotions. The struggles. The questions. This story represents the lived experiences of millions of American women. Women who felt exactly what you just heard. Women who thought they were alone. If this resonated with you, that's because the feelings are real. Even if this particular story isn't. Subscribe to Intimacy. Vault for more stories that reflect what so many women go through but rarely talk about.